All right. Hello, everyone, and now welcome to a game. This game is going to be between FoCuS and Infi, taking place here on Springtime version 1.3. Let's go ahead and get to the 2-minute mark of this game as we see FoCuS spawning as the blue orc in the top left-hand side of the map. Meanwhile, Infi spawning as the red human over here on the bottom right. Should be a good matchup here, and already straight up off the bat, you can see that it is going to be Paladin rifles coming across from Infi. Not a common strategy against Orc. Very curious to see how this is all going to be unfolding here as the Farseer Spirit Wolves now making their way out across the battlefield. It almost looked like the Farseer was actually had movement formation on for just a split second, hence the weird pathing issues there, the wolves having to be in the front. Anyways, let's go ahead, see what the Farseer hopes to do here in terms of harassment, and they're going to see a fairly wide open base. Paladin is down here to the south trying to do some creeping with militia. Meanwhile, we're looking at the wolves while trying to fight back here, and there is going to be quite a bit of damage. Paladin first means that a lot of that damage can be easily healed up as the Paladin now tries to put pressure onto, or at least try to defend back here. Now, lumber could potentially be an issue. You're going to see a little bit more fighting back and forth here. The wolves are going to try to go after whichever peasant is in that non-militia form, since they do have medium armor, and it will take a little bit more damage there. So this is all about maximizing damage while the wolves are just trying to be split up into different positions. All right, Paladin in that frontline spot does have a Mantle of Intelligence. Is it going to try to get a Holy Light off anywhere? Doesn't really need to yet, as the regeneration and the riflemen are going to be able to push back here. We are getting up that 4th rifleman, and that's a good number of farms already out here in this position here. The wolves all suffered quite a bit of damage. You can see that FoCuS does have enough mana, but right now we're just going into this ebb and flow. Both sides trying to get the other person to make a mistake. Similar to a tennis rally here, where you're just trying to find an opening on your opponent, have them make a little bit of a misstep, and, well, have to commit too much into a specific play. There's a Holy Light right there. That one rifleman took quite a bit of damage here. Meanwhile, we are looking at another farm being placed down here as the wolves are going to try and back up. All right, 310 hit points. The Paladin could easily Holy Light this rifleman if he wants to, but perhaps going to try and let natural regeneration do a little bit of the work. Paladin halfway to level 2. Farseer does not have any experience whatsoever, as FoCuS perhaps going to try and do a little bit of aggro creeping and pull in some of these units from the far side. All right, going to do a little bit of a split damage here. Who's going to get that last shot? Who's going to get that last hit there? Farseer on the board. You can see militia now getting called over, and we're going to be looking at some damage perhaps onto some of these units. One militia, gonna take quite a bit of damage now, trying to retreat back down to 10 hit points. He does get taken down, but was denied by the creeps. Meanwhile, Naga Sea Witch by FoCuS. This is an extremely aggressive play. Fast tech to tier 2, 5-minute mark of this game. Naga Sea Witch is already here. The Town Hall not even done yet. Upgrading still needs another minute, as we are going to look at a lot of pressure. There's level 2 on to Infi's Paladin. Getting to level 2, that is going to be incredibly helpful. More riflemen going to get trained up here. We're looking at 32 over 36 supply. Perhaps going to add in one more since one rifleman was lost. But lumber will be needed to perhaps train up a second hero as well. This is all a little bit of a strange scenario. Infi now making his way off to the north here. You're going to see the Farseer and the Naga Sea Witch working together to clear out this relatively difficult creep camp, at least in the early stages. Orange creep camp here. Naga Sea Witch, we're going to finish off a Forest Troll Berserker and that Trapper. Meanwhile, off to the north, Devotion are going to try and keep all of these units alive. We do not see any armor upgrades yet, only the weapon attack upgrades, as the militia are now looking to fall back. There goes another Trapper here, as the Paladin does pick up Claws of Attack +8. We are now at tier 2, getting up a Blood Mage, and perhaps going to be setting up an Arcane Sanctum as well for some healing. All right, coming back around, or perhaps mortar teams. All right, we're going to be looking at a little bit more damage, trying to finish off this Shaman. If this Shaman gets taken down, is it going to give enough experience? Level 3 would be huge, giving a full 400 hit point heal to that Rifleman. efficient mana use here as the Paladin wants to get to level 4. This is one of those well, interesting spots. If you can get to level 4 quickly, that means you get an additional armor across all of your units, picks up a potion of greater mana, and now just going to walk away instead, taking that consumable item. All right. Continuing to retreat back here, we are looking at, well, more farms being placed down. Altar of Kings, well, about to pop out that Blood Mage as the Farseer Naga Sea Witch combination, 2 level 2 heroes ready to do a little bit of follow-up. All right, Orc Burrows already upgraded with that reinforced defenses. That is absolutely huge. Without those reinforced defenses, you better believe that the Rifleman would have been, oh wow, that Rifleman down to 19 hit points. Going to take a Holy Light there and now go after the Mammoth Creep Camp here. Meanwhile, Farseer Naga Sea Witch going to try to dive on in here. Arcane Tower needs to go after that Farseer. Farseer going to take quite a bit. There's a little bit of siphon mana. And where is that Scroll of Town Portal going to land? Is it going to land there? No, going to land straight up on top of all of the Headhunters as the Headhunters try to get away. All right, Headhunters able to get away easily. Once more, the Arcane Tower was in an awfully strange spot here. Are we perhaps going to see some siphon mana into that Paladin? Paladin perhaps needs the Holy Light. The Blood Mage also has a Scroll of Regeneration here. All right, 44 over 50 supply. We see a bunch of Headhunters heading off to the north here. Naga Sea Witch Farseer trying to retreat back into the center. And the Blood Mage, well, down to 250 hit points, going to perhaps aggro the trackers here and then try and do a little bit of fighting. All right, we should be looking at a bit of siphon mana from that tracker. Not quite sure why we haven't done that exactly yet. Needs mana. And it needs lots of it. All right, perhaps going to try and go for a surround here. And, well, the tracker is just completely surrounded by Riflemen, something that's actually rather difficult to do since Riflemen don't normally, well, try and run up against any of those units. Blood Mage does get to level 2. There's going to be more siphon mana into the Paladin. Paladin up to 390 mana now. Meanwhile, the Blood Mage, completely out of mana, will need a little bit more siphon again. Where is what's going on here? Goblin Zeppelin ready to do a little bit of a Zeppelin drop play. That is going to be important. Rifleman, does it spot all of this? I don't believe the Zeppelin has been spotted yet. Nope, I take it back. Has been spotted. Already trying to come back around here. We're getting improved lumber harvesting. And the Goblin Zeppelin, well, the Goblin Zeppelin cannot land. The Riflemen are simply just going to shoot it out of the sky very quickly. Arcane Tower, interesting spot for this Scout Tower here, not brushed up against here, so a bad Scroll of Town Portal could lead to a stuck hero or two, as we are now going into a Griffin Aviary. Okay, Griffin Aviary, Riflemen all down here on the ground, ready to shoot up at a moment's notice. Meanwhile, we're looking at, well, the Griffin Aviary taking a little bit more time again. Meanwhile, off to the north, Shadow Hunter, third and final hero coming in from FoCuS, ready to go as we see a Goblin Zeppelin drop right here. All right, that's going to be a lot of damage. The Berserkers were already upgraded. Goblin Zeppelin purposely making short work. There's a Fork Lightning and Chain Lightning. Lightning striking twice here. Chain Lightning, Fork Lightning dealing quite a bit of damage as another Rifleman gets taken down. All right, a lot of, well, Scroll of Town Portal is going to whisk all of these units away. 47 supply compared to 48. Dual lightning tactics. Farseer going to go ahead and heal up. Perhaps also need to get in a couple of clarity potions on that Farseer, as mana is rather expensive or, well, necessary for this particular strategy. Now, we are at Castle. We can see that the Griffin Aviary currently paused. Are we going to see some repair? Yep. Gonna go ahead and work that. Blood Mage sitting at level 2, gonna finish off the remainder of the trapper as we see a Fire Lord as the third and final hero coming in from Infi. So Paladin, Blood Mage, Fire Lord going up against Farseer, Naga Sea Witch, Shadow Hunter. Yeah, very random heroes, not your typical standard at all, as both sides getting ready to engage. Paladin gonna go shopping, perhaps pick up a Scroll of Healing heading off to the north. No Scroll of Protection. Riflemen are upgraded 1-0, no 2-0 upgrades either, as the Scout Tower now coming online. All right, hero levels. Level 3, level 3, level 2. Tauren wants to get into that front line spot, but still regenerating hit points from that healing salve. Tauren having rather a large amount, taking a little bit of damage, losing that heal, and now we're going to go into an engagement. All right, a little bit of damage here. Oh, this is going to be interesting to see. We're going to see some damage be, fought back the other way. That incinerate, that explosion. Explosion where it starts to cascade and really allows the focus fire of the rifleman to work well with that fire lord and these relatively low hit point berserkers. The berserkers only have 475 hit points each. Even with the medium armor damage reduction, it still falls relatively fast, as we're going to see a tracker now get taken down as well. All right, there goes that tracker. Level 2 now on that Fire Lord. Going to finish off the remainder here as the Paladin gets up to level 4, and he opts to go for, can't quite tell what he goes for since there's no overlay to help me. Griffin Aviary out here, Springtime 1.3. The majority of the creep camp maps have been cleared out. We're looking at the Magnetar Reaper also getting cleared up here. This is going to be 3-3-3 at the very least on the Shadow Hunter. And meanwhile, the Paladin is already sitting at 4, gives Gloves of Haste to the Fire Lord now. So it's a 4-3-2 compared to a 3-3-3 creep camp on the other side with a good number of Tauren. All right, so that is a good number of Tauren sitting at 60 over 71 supply. We are also going into Raiders, and the Tauren totem hasn't shown any signs of Spirit Walkers yet. All right, quick explosion death right there. 60 supply over 64. Dual Griffin Aviaries in order to perhaps shoot down those Taurens with heavy armor. Do get felled quickly by those Griffin Hammers. Now, Griffin Hammers do not share upgrades with Rifleman Gunpowder, as we're looking at, level 1 armor upgrades now. So studded leaded armor for the Riflemen and also those Griffin Riders. Also level 2 Devotion Aura on that Paladin. So these guys are already taking significantly less damage as well, as we're going to be making our way through. 67 over 71 supply. FoCuS and Infi both sitting on 1 base play, but still right in the throngs of low upkeep. Now, how is this battle going to go through? There's a little bit of that damage. You can see that Berserker getting that incinerate damage there. Would have exploded upon death. No Spirit Link cast across all of these units just quite yet. Paladin going to be making its way over. We can see a Scroll of Regeneration and now trying to go into a fight. Tiny Great Hall quickly being used as well. 10 more seconds until that is going to be done. And now FoCuS with the economic advantage early on. All right. Being able to set up that base quickly is going to be extremely helpful. Griffin Aviaries also getting up those Storm Hammers, trying to get 64 over 70 supply, building up a larger army. It's going to be a little bit of time before there is a, return on investment there, as we see a quick Siphon Mana from that Farseer. Farseer does have an Orb of Lightning, so they will be able to purge down some of these targets if they get caught out in open field. There is a quick ensnare that, Griffin Rider going to turn back around, try and fight its way through, and more Griffins are making their way through. All right, there goes a, Flame Strike in the back line. So interesting call. Flame Strike, dual lightning versus double flame. A Fire Lord and Blood Mage, as we're looking at, that Tauren about to get taken down, gets a healing wave right there. Flame Strike not hitting all of the right targets. Meanwhile, we're still looking at more damage coming back across here. We're looking at that Shadow Hunter down to 150 hit points. A Chain Lightning going back around, and damage is still racking up. Meanwhile, Militia trying to make their way over. Are we going to see some damage go down onto some of these targets? Blood Mage could turn back around, get a Flame Strike, or do something else. There's going to be a Flame Strike across the center. That's going to be a large amount of damage as the Shadow Hunter tries to walk through that there. Chain Lightning level up onto the Farseer, I believe. Shadow Hunter sitting at level 3. There's another Purge. There's a big exploding death of a Tauren, and both sides still fighting their way through. And there goes another. Firelord now sits at level 3 here, going to use those Incinerates, and that is causing some major cascading explosions, one after another. And as they explode, it's just a chain reaction right there. Chain Lightning versus the Incinerate chain reaction. Who is coming out on top? The heroes, apparently. Everything else is dead. armies are nearly gone. What's going on here? That Tauren down to 18 hit points, able to survive, instead going after these other targets instead here. And this Tauren, what is it going to try and do? All right, Blood Mage out of mana. Firelord heading off to the north here. You can see all of these peasants realizing, wait, no, I do not want to be anywhere in this battle right now. All of these are going to easily get finished off, give a little bit of bonus experience as well. We're looking at peon after peon falling. I don't believe we're going to see I take it back. Level up onto the Blood Mage. Blood Mage levels up here. That Tauren, well, able to stay alive. Needs some healing salves. I believe if that Tauren was lost, that would have been a much, much bigger play. 44 supply compared to 48. It could have been 39 compared to 48. A massive, massive difference as the units are going to get ready to engage again. All right, Blood Mage is sitting at level 4. Firelord sitting at level 4. We're going to see an ensnare. This may force a little bit of a fight here. There's a Holy Light, and now we're going to go see a couple of easy deaths onto those wolves. Units are trying to retreat back here. Firelord continuing to battle it up. There goes a couple of ensnares. Forked Lightning, Chain Lightning bouncing around. More Griffins making their way over. No Staff of Sanctuary. That could be the problem as the the Paladin now gets up to level 5. Level 5 Paladin with, Griffins out here onto the battlefield. It actually makes sense for level 3 Holy Light instead, as that Griffin Rider, does get a big burst heal again. There's some more exploding deaths once more. Chain Lightning bouncing around. Infi, constantly getting his Griffin Riders purged down by that Orb of Lightning, forcing engagements longer and longer as the dire wolves are just getting destroyed in a matter of seconds. There's going to be another death, exploding death. There's another Holy Light as the Paladin with level 3 Holy Light, level 2 Devotion Aura, able to keep all of these units alive. Low hit point Griffin off on the side here. No stuns, so all of these units able to perhaps just try and retreat back again. Paladin could be in a little bit of trouble. He wants to back away. There is no potion of replenishment any longer, just another siphon life or siphon mana into that Paladin to keep him alive a little while longer. All right, Paladin could be in trouble. We're going to turn back around. There's going to be some damage onto the Farseer here. Units are going to fall back again and again as the Paladin just going to be amongst all of these units. So this transition into air by Infi working out well, going Paladin Rifle into Paladin Griffin with 3 heroes on the ground. Double Lightning versus double Fire. This one Griffin Rider does get taken out though. And once more, not having a Staff of Sanctuary could be the key difference as we're looking at, 49 supply over 76. Having Staff of Sanctuaries, not only do you save a unit, you deny your opponent the experience. And, it just continues to compound and work better and better. Paladin going to try to head back the other way here. Doubles back around. We're going to look at a small engagement, small fight. And here we are. Here we go. Straight up damage onto the Shadow Hunter instead of that Griffin. That Tauren. Tauren should have been perhaps that very primary target as the Tauren now tried to dive in here. Paladin could be in trouble. Invul Potion used in time with 12 seconds left. Or 12 hit points left. Both sides continuing to fight here. Paladin may be forced to use a Scroll of Town Portal here. Firelord gets taken down. There's a Scroll of Town Portal now. And suddenly, Infi finds himself in a tough spot. Going after heroes may have been the problem right there. We need to see a Scroll of Regeneration. The Paladin is going to be in a little bit of trouble. Staff of Sanctuary, going to go ahead and staff that Paladin now. He's going to be able to regenerate a good amount of hit points. Firelord is out of the game for 90 seconds as the Blood Mage looks to see what he can do to follow all of this up. Perhaps Banish would have worked well. Banish with those Griffin Riders able to deal damage here. There's going to be a quick ensnare. Blood Mage going to make its way back around. Are we going to see damage onto that one Raider? Yeah, one Raider already down. There's a big flame strike there. Yuna's trying to fall back. There goes another. There more and more ensnares. Another Raider. Oh, Blood Mage down to 64. He gets taken out. Paladin back in play, ready for some action. What is he going to do now? Is he going to try to buy a Staff of Sanctuary as well? No, it's still on. It's still getting restocked at the store. We're looking at 44 supply right now, going against 44. And, well, what you see is what you get on these main bases. This could be a potential problem indeed, as both sides getting ready to, well, fight here. All right, Firelord still needs about 90 seconds. What is happening? Firelord... No, excuse me, 30 seconds. Both sides getting ready to fight. Perhaps Militia need to get in some repairs as well. What is that Paladin going to do? There's going to be a little bit of damage. And going down onto that Naga Sea Witch. Naga Sea Witch, no wonder the damage seems so high. Plus 22 damage from that Naga Sea Witch, as the Blood Mage, well, tries to get resurrected at the tavern. There's going to be a Holy Light right there. And they're going to, well, perhaps be making a play out here onto the battlefield. Firelord should be rejoining. Firelord now on the battlefield here, going to, well, be forced to try and catch up to this battle. Meanwhile, we're just looking at the Griffin Riders going a little bit too far. We're going to see perhaps an Ensnare go back the other way. There's another Holy Light. Firelord is ready for some action, and we could see the chain reaction going up against the dual lightning strategy. There's some Siphon Mana. There's some damage. Chain Lightning bouncing around still. And we're looking at, well, Griffin Rider getting Staff of Sanctuary for the save. Turning back around. Blood Mage could have a little bit of problem. Raider is going to turn back. The Tauren does not want to engage. And this has just been a non-stop battle for the past, well, it feels like 20 minutes. All right, some long-distance mining here. Peasants were called to arm and to try and take down some of these, well, units again. And there goes another Peon. So peons are just falling left and right. We are looking at 45 supply compared to 47 as the units fall back here. All right, Blood Mage sitting at level 4. Paladin sitting at level 5 has plenty of mana. And it may turn into a mana-intensive game here. So 4-4-4 coming across from the Orc team. 3 level 4 heroes. You ready to go? Griffin Riders 0-1 upgrades. Add in that level 2 devotion, or essentially 0-3 upgrades here to try and keep units alive. Remember, Chain Lightning, Fork Lightning, not... well... does bypass armor, as the Raiders are going to come across and engage here. No Stormbolt. There goes a couple of ensnares. There's some Siphon Mana, and no Hex onto that Blood Mage yet. And now both sides are just fighting here. All right, Flame Strike. Those, well, all of those Berserkers are going to be forced to try and do a little bit of a dance to get away. There's a Holy Light. Raiders trying to dance back and forth here. And are we going to see perhaps another Tauren get taken down? Yeah, Tauren gets taken down. That was a big splat again. We're going to see more chain reaction. FoCuS's units are exploding one at a time. And that is just, well, happening so quickly. Chain reactions off of Incinerate to, well, decimate the hit points and decimate these armies time and time again, as the Firelord could be in a little bit of trouble. No, Invul Potion keeps him alive, as we're looking at the Shadow Hunter trying to back away once more. All right, Raiders trying to make their way back through. We could see another Holy Light. There's another Holy Light there. Raider gonna end up falling. No, that is just gonna be the game. FoCuS realizing that he could not last long enough in that final battle. The level 3 Holy Light making such a big difference. And then on top of that, Infi picking up that Staff of Sanctuary, essentially allowing him to fully heal up that Paladin and get back into this game. Let me know what you guys thought about this game in the comments below.